Okay, this one I'm going to discuss about walk-ins um, in reference to Dolores Cannon. And there's going to be three movies if you want to watch where it'll give you an idea of this, that you see it in movies. On Netflix, you can watch. It's called Selfless. And then Sense 8 and Advantageous. And on Sense 8, it'll actually give you an idea too of like that you can exist in multiple bodies and different timelines. And then in this one, it's almost like a soul pod where like it's one person but split in 8 different bodies, different personalities, and they can communicate with each other. So those are 3 movies you could watch: Selfless, Sense 8, and Advantageous. And I'm going to be talking about Dolores Cannon. She was you can find her YouTube site, Dolores Cannon, and she was a hypnotherapist. She would work with patients that were trying to do past life retrieval, or they were abducted, anything that drew them. They would use hypnosis to take them back to do some type of discovery or type of treatment. And she had treated thousands of patients, and she had discovered like a same type of message. Sometimes it would be aspects that would come out, or it would actually be aliens or other entities that would come out and speak to her. And these were people that didn't even know each other, and the messages would repeat themselves, and they would actually tell different types of stories and give different types of information. And with her, they had told her that there was, because the planet was evolving, there's 3 different groups of people that were coming in to help the planet. Of course, like the indigo children that have the higher frequency, and then the initial people, I think they were called the Blail Tree Trailblazers that initially came in to start it out. And then the middle group, they were more like they were the anchor, taking in frequencies and transmitting out frequencies. And then this one, also there were walk-ins, because they're not allowed to actually, the I guess the knowing entities and aliens and other souls were not allowed to like outwardly intervene. So what they would do is they would literally walk into a body. And I found out about this a couple of years ago, but it wasn't until recently, like a year and a half ago. My guides had told me about the walk-ins. They guided me to Dolores Cannon, and then they didn't tell me until later. I thought it was only the light side that would do this to try to help the planet, that the dark also uses this. So there's positive, negative uses, and the positive and the light and the dark are also using this thing where they could send in entities or souls or whatever into human bodies. And I'll give you an example. Well, I'll give you 3 different examples. So any event where you could have died, like a fall, like I had described before on my version of my experience of jumping timelines, and actually like dying in one version and then going into another timeline. That could be an example, like you have a different memory of an event where you could have died. What they do is they take the person, because they can't do it without the person's permission. What ends up happening, the person is at the point of death, either willingly or accidentally. So if the person decides to commit suicide, right before they commit suicide, they approach the person, well, the soul, before they leave. That's my dogs. They're playing. Stop! Before they leave the body, they ask the soul, can we have permission to, take over the body? And the soul has to say yes or no. Like the outside events, it could be an accident, anything that caused them to not want to live anymore. And what I've noticed, like, I know in the military they have a book where they tell you how like you can torture a person to make them be submissive. And one of the ways is malnutrition. Give them as much carbs as possible, but no nutritional value. It'll make them very sick, cause their hair to fall out, make them very tired, always get infections, like typical symptoms that the general population feels. And it takes them to the point where they don't want to live, but they're very compliant. You reach a point of choosing to die, but then you, like, one example, you you could be suicidal, and then one day you wake up, your situation hasn't changed at all. You wake up and you're totally happy that the way you felt the day before doesn't even match. Like, you feel enlightened, you feel like things aren't so bad, and even the situation could be even worse, but your perspective totally, it's almost like you're a different person. And that's one of the telltale signs that you might be a walk-in. Like, that soul or entity doesn't remember who it was before. It takes on the persona, like the memories, everything of that person. But their attitude, their perspective is different. And then you can even see, like, in reference to another person, you can see it as maybe they had like a severe heart attack, some type of brain traumatic injury, or that person could have even been suicidal. And then one day you just see them, they're like a total different person, totally different. And it'll be more, it depends on which side, and it depends on the person, if they were more light or more dark. And that's the side the entities will approach the person. But they'll be more that way, leaning like extremely, but their behavior and their personality is different, like it's not even them. That's an example of seeing it with another person, that there could have been a walk-in. That's a telltale sign. And then like another message that my guides had told me too, like how I said, like the toxins and the horrible food, no nutritional value, and like the powers that be, the negative powers that be, they told me that they're doing it, that my guides had told me that they're doing it on purpose, like making everything chaotic, causing people to be miserable and suffer, making everything be negative, making people depressed, sick, and like basically give up on life and not want to live. And then with that, they keep on pushing that person to the point where like a walk-in can come in. So you see that kind of rampant in society, where you're seeing like crazy behavior. With that, it made me wonder about like certain conditions like Alzheimer's, dementia, or even like people that are like severely narcissistic or sociopathic, that I'm wondering if these people are walk-ins, because I've seen it where like even like Alzheimer's, and I know it sounds crazy, even like Alzheimer's and dementia patients, you'll see that like they'll not be with it, and then all of a sudden they switch to like being with it. So it's making me wonder also too that maybe some of the walk-ins, they don't actually, the soul doesn't totally leave, but the person is like put to sleep. The soul is put to sleep, so the walk-in can just basically take over the body, and sometimes the original person comes back out. And then like with the narcissism, like how you see someone literally like behave or say something, and then they'll blame somebody else saying they did it, and then like almost like they don't even remember, like they're the one who said it and did it, which makes me think there could possibly be a walk-in or an habitation of a walk-in. And it makes, and I've been meditating on it, if there could be possibly more than one walk-in, and if there was any way like some of these people, like if the walk-ins can be pushed out, or that person's soul, the original person, can be woken up and brought forward and permanently stayed forward. So there's been a lot of other things I've been wondering about it, and then you guys could wonder and meditate on it and give me some information, because it's kind of weird. And then also the new thing that everybody's talking about is organic portals, or people that are NPCs, that basically they're just a meat suit for these, I guess, energies or entities. And you can see like their behavior is totally different, like you can't connect with them. And even if like you pick up on the energy, it's like something's wrong, like they're not like a regular person. So I'm wondering if that's similar to a walk-in, or that's something totally different, but still the same. They're just not a regular human with a regular soul. And that also brings up like, oh my God. I'll just start this on another video. again.